Alright, I'm having issues with my camera because it's a piece of shit. But I wrote some more on the K-12 business. Here I'm just looking at the numbers. And the reason I did this was, well, first of all, I had taken some summer school um, courses, so I knew the structure was a little bit different in the summer for credits. And I also took distance learning uh, credits to graduate, which I'll get to that in a second. So basically, the point here is that I'm just roughing these numbers. I don't know where they're at now, but September 1st, June 1st. That's basically 9 months in school, and we basically say about 3 months of vacation. And so there are certain things that keep schools funded, and it's not like a secret. A lot of it comes down to the number of students enrolled in the course, um, number of classroom hours, um, dropout rates, all sorts of things. But the point is that the government funding. My cat is being an issue here. Dexter, do you have anything to add? No, he doesn't. He just wants to. He just wants to. But oh, you're too close, Dexter. They can't see you. Okay. So, the point I'm making here is that I started thinking about. Well, I don't like school for a number of reasons, but I like learning, and I have a feeling that there's a lot of people that are like me in that sense. So I went through and I went because I wanted to know how many hours a person's spending within the school confines for a one credit course, say English 1, right? Well, it's a 50-minute class. They're taking it 5 times a week, which comes out to roughly, say, 4 hours a week. Right? 4 hours a week is 4 weeks in a month, right? So 16 hours per month, right? Yeah, weeks cancel hours per month, okay. And then times 9 months. So 144 hours per school year being defined as 9 months. So that's for a one credit class. Um, it's required that you are in the doors 144 hours to fulfill the funding requirements over the course of 9 months. Okay, now you take a look at what you can do in summer school. And here's the hourly breakdown for half a credit class during summer school. And again, I had happened to take an economics course in high school during the summer. So this schedule is very doable. It's basically 8 to noon, and there's some kind of breaks in there. But you're basically looking at 4 hours a day, 20 hours a week, for a total of 60 hours over the course of 3 weeks to get a half credit course. It's actually not very difficult because all your time and effort are being spent on that one single course. Now, if you kind of extrapolate those out, you could roughly say that, well, 120 hours then would be required, and 6 weeks would be required to complete a one credit course. So, in other words, when we compare the two, summer school course and the regular school course, it's only a 20-hour difference, 20 hours less in the summer school program. But when you look, the summer school program's over roughly 1.5 months, whereas the regular school extends it over 9 months. So That's a 6 time reduction in time spent uh, in the classroom over the course of a year. So that's a big difference. So it led me to go and say, well, what if we took the whole year and divided it up into 1.5 month increments, roughly, and that'd be the summer school model, because 3 weeks would be a half a credit, 6 weeks would be a full credit. So if you look at that, you could roughly divide up the year into uh, eight different durations, all the same length, and so in order to graduate, school here requires a 6 credit minimum for each grade in high school. If you were to follow this model over the course of the year, you'd have 8 credits. And the thing about that is that's only assuming you're in class for 4 hours a day during those time periods. So if you want to go from 8 to noon, well, from noon for the rest of your day, you can do whatever you want. Now that I think sounds dangerous because kids need guidance, and that's where programs like the music ecosystem that I've been working on will provide a musical outlet that'll both get kids out of the schoolroom classroom, but they'll still be together, but they'll be in a facility with musicians, trained musicians in the community that that well, the local government's going to start paying for because the cultural import of music is very much uh, brushed aside, and I think it's about time we lead in something. So, point here is that eventually the notion of a contiguous class year of year X begins to dissolve as kids take more and more of the same courses. You know, say a 10th grader requires economics, and so does an 11th grader. Well, they're both going to take economics, so what what does it matter what grade year they are? They both need to fill a seat in that course. So, um, uh, yeah, so at the level of high school, we can ditch, I think, the chronological age basis for graduating class cohesion, um, because it really comes down to associating based on coursework and not simply arbitrary age and required coursework. Part of the thing here too is to show that there's a cycling you can create which would alleviate a lot of the issues with too many students in the class, not enough teachers. Um, Again, this is just one way. There's plenty of other ways through computer technologies and stuff, but this is kind of a foundational approach to looking at, well, what is it that we need to do so as to create a public education system that allows greater greater control in the functionality of the student, but then also part of this is to get them out of the classroom to go somewhere else. Some people are going to want to go into computer sciences, some people are going to want to go into music or whatever. And the point there is they need that time, they need the resources available. They can't depend on their parents, they can't depend on anything outside of the school. and the community has the resources, and music equipment, guitars are cheap, and they are a great instrument that lends itself to the learning of general music theory, which will only make any kid smarter, but also allow them to play basically any other instrument once they learn the mechanics of the instrument itself. Anywho, point here is just like titles go by the wayside of skills. Well, classes, course classes, are taking place of the graduating class notion, because coursework and the number of students needed in a course is what matters, because that's the ratio that affects learning abilities. So, yeah, this is the start of something.